Thank you all so much for being here today. It's nice to see you all. I'm grateful for your testimony in particular in the bill related to grid enhancing technologies. I am grateful for the white paper is fortuitous timing. There is in section 4A, asset conditioning and local transmission service projects, which begins on page 9 of the white paper for those of you watching from home, a quote that I'd like to sort of take a moment to say because it's particularly salient and I don't want to lose sort of track of it in this conversation, which is wonky. And I think for those people who are interested in electricity costs watching from home, I don't want to lose the saliency of this quote. It says, the cost of asset condition projects are entered into TO's annual formula rates and are presumed by FERC to be prudent unless a challenger can demonstrate serious debt. As discussed above, this is an almost impossible burden for a challenger to meet, exposing the region's ratepayers to to a significant risk of over or unnecessary such spending, such as where a TO proposes to replace transmission infrastructure before it is needed or in a manner beyond what is necessary, i.e. gold plating. So in the context of asset conditioning projects, it seems like we've highlighted a lack of oversight on transmission spending. And we've been spending a lot of times talking about ratepayer impacts. And you've raised sort of the specific concern that transmission owners might replace infrastructure before it's necessary or upgrade it beyond what's required. And that has this ratepayer impact. And I think the percentage increase that you highlighted was 75% increase. So I'm like a little nauseous actually thinking about this. In my mind, we have these two regulatory bodies, which right now are within your sort of scope of cognizance. So we have the Siting Council and we have PURA, and then there's FERC. And for like the purposes of this committee, I'm just going to like ignore FERC for right now, which is a very risky proposition. But when it comes to PURA and the Siting Council, I have spent an incredible amount of time in the last 4 years trying to leverage in every way possible a strong regulatory framework. How do you propose we address this incredible problem and in a way that is timely? And you know, we're having this conversation in the context of grid enhancing technologies and transmission cognizance and oversight. And I certainly don't want any efforts that we make towards grid enhancing technologies to contribute to gold plating. And I made this, this example, this conversation when we had the transmission meeting with the grid enhancing technology experts is I certainly don't want an investment in grid enhancing technologies to be like, oh my gosh, look, we installed smart meters, for example, but we haven't actually deployed them to their full possibility. The ratepayers aren't even getting the full possible benefit in grid reliability and cost and energy savings, but they're still paying for the full cost of that technology, even though it's basically a brick. And that's an exaggeration. I'm sure I'll be corrected on that sentiment that I've just relayed. But what is our lever? Like, what are we to do? And I just want to like really sort of point out, like, I think everyone should go home and read that quote. So I'm going to highlight again. It's page 9, section 4A, asset condition and local transmission service projects, because I think, we talk all the time about energy costs. That's you've pointed, you have like a shining red arrow flashing on a lever we have to address energy costs. So tell us how to do it.
So just to say, this is what happens when the TOs are not providing ratepayer advocates in the state and other parties that could participate in FERC proceedings with adequate information about the scope and need of these projects. Is that if we're in the dark, how do we know, right, whether this is gold plating or whether this is the most important, valuable asset that needs to be replaced urgently to keep the lights on? So providing for further transparency helps us to be better assured that these investments are truly in the ratepayers' interest.